let's welcome our guests, and of course, Ms. Petal-Ann Roberts, Secretary of Finance, and Mr. Anselm Richards, you are the
Chief Technical Advisor, Division of Finance, Trade and Economy.
Very good.
Mrs. Roberts is my boss.
Very well. So you're here with your boss, so you have to behave yourself. All right, Ms. Petal-Ann Roberts, welcome, and both of you welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, a new day for the THA, given the victory, historic victory. These the two representatives will go to the Parliament today, and they will observe, and then we'll hear further on. But just a reaction from the election and where you are and how you feel. I will come to you, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Richards.
Good morning, Tobago, and good morning, Brother B. Thank you for having me and Mr. Richards. Well, for us, I think it's the dawn of a new day for us. We have seen some hard times, and we are hopeful. I was always hopeful that things would get better. And also, I feel that this is an opportunity for Tobago to realize its fullest potential. Obviously, we have not yet had any conversations with the government, but we expect it to be very cordial and positive for Tobago. And obviously, you know, we'll want to start with the allocations to the Tobago House of Assembly. But before that, we have the mid-year review coming up. We are still in fiscal 2025, and we expect that we will have some additional funding to take care of some of our development liabilities. Yeah. So that's the starting point. There are so many other things, but we don't want to flood the government with all these issues, but incrementally we will get all of them resolved, I'm sure, but we'll deal with the priority areas. First being our allocations. We also have the TTRA Act that we expect to be repealed and have provisions for Tobago adequately in that bill or in that legislation. We have some liability items. This issue of our overdraft facility, we want to sort all of those things. So that's where the conversation lies. We are at the mid-year, and that is where we'll have our conversations with the new administration under the central government going forward.
Yeah, let's bring Mr. Richards. Mr. Richards, you're still elated, obviously celebrating still. This victory, what does it mean for Tobago?
Well, it means that the dawn of a new political era, the dawn of a new economic and transformation, you know, a reigniting of the journey towards this great Fiscal island, and a consolidation of the people's ambition to go in that journey. That is what it really is. The Tobagoans have really bought into this journey of becoming the greatest Fiscal island on the planet. And what they have done, they have consolidated the political power in Tobago into the hands of one political entity, the TPP, so that can go uninterrupted in a very smooth and organized manner. So that's how I package the outcome of the election. The people have said, we have bought into this dream, we are giving you the political authority and power to execute the dream on our behalf, without the interference of those who have been there for some time. And we have not seen the progress and the delivery, you know, that Tobagoans have been looking for the last 21 years. And then the arrogance and the disrespect that have accompanied that 21 years that have been bestowed on the people of Tobago, you know, without remorse. And Tobagoans have really written in the political history of Tobago.
All right, so let's go to the key items of interest, and I say items. The self-governance matter. Obviously, we anticipate that it should be a smooth transitioning. Obviously, we had some amendments, and those be given consideration. Let's bring those two into Mr. Richards. The autonomy bill issue. That should be settled and be treated with, and we get that as soon as possible with lawmaking powers and all that. We amended the amendment as your thoughts.
Right. So, and that's a very critical priority agenda item for the Tobago House Assembly and the people of Tobago coming out from this victory. You will know that in 2010, the PP government, which was headed by the incoming Prime Minister, had made this a manifesto pledge to accord to the people of Tobago's internal self-government. And they followed through. And in 3 years, a bill was before the Parliament, but the then opposition leader, who is now the ex-Prime Minister and ex-leader of the PNM, walked out of Parliament and denied the people of Tobago that opportunity. So this is a second opportunity under the same political leader, Mrs. Passad Bissessa. And we are hoping that we can consolidate that provision that was provided in 2013 for the bill with what has transpired since then. Consolidate them, come up with a bill in the shortest order, because the work has been done. You know, there's no need for no 100,000 consultation all over the place. This work has been done since 1976 in earnest, up to the 2024. So if we start as because these people had a bill. So if we go back and say, okay, this is the foundation, let us see all the changes that came in the other iteration after, and we fold them into a nice package of legislation for the amendment of the Constitution to accord to the people of Tobago internal self-government. That can happen, I think, before the end of the year.
No,
because
no,
I'm serious. You know.
Oh boy,
there's a serious pathway to that, brother B.
Okay.
Yeah.
The work
So
has
the
been done.
conversation has started?
Well, we are putting our plans and our strategies together.
Yeah.
We are not waiting for tomorrow. We have started the work already.
All right, fine. Well, I understand.
That's, what I say is that it's a critical agenda priority item for the government. It means that we have started to put the pathway together.
Well, I said before, and I'm bringing you in here. When I said by now, Farley's supposed to be on the phone with Kamala,
Yes.
outlining what are the demands, and I say demands because we have been waiting for too long. All right.
Yes.
So, Ms. Petal-Ann Roberts, I want you to speak to this whole question of the rebuttal of the lie that you accuse Dr. Rowley of with this finance, with the matters that you dealt with on the platform. They tell me, brother, if you hear that speech by that lady, you need to go back again.
Yes.
But just
Castara speech.
Castara speech. No, and when somebody called me,
Yes.
for me to listen,
Yes.
it means that you really resounded the message. And let's go to what was said by the then Prime Minister,
Yes.
as opposed to what the truth is.
Good.
This is what you contend.
And thank you very much for reminding me of that, because when we were coming this morning, we were really coming to speak of budget 2026. But
We'll
I'm
get to
happy, yes, but I'm happy, I'm elated that you brought that up. But before I get to that, I just want to go back to something you said before with regard to if we have any conversations with the minister. I have meetings with Mr. Richards and a team, a strategic team, every week, or we try to do it every week or every 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks. And one of the things I've said over the last month is that whether or not the government is the existing P&M government or it's the United National Congress, let us start a plan or conversation. So we have already mapped out, Mr. Richards have already done out a matrix of the items for discussion. So we are ready, right? We're just waiting for them to call us for conversation. So to go back to the former political leader and the former prime minister. So he indicated that, well, he made an allegation that when we did the request for the oil spill funding, included in it was 2 Prados. Now, I was really baffled as to where this would have come from, because as chief management accountant, that's the position I held before, and even as Secretary of Finance, I've been doing the same kinds of work. So I did the work in terms of the request for the oil spill on behalf of the chief administrator at the time, who was working alongside the chief secretary, who was the Secretary of Finance at the time. So I did the request, and the request included all the invoices for services that we would have had to incur because of the oil spill, which included cleanup, included accommodation, included food, meals, several things. And I do not understand where these 2 Prados came in.
So, because you said part of the request was 2 Prados.
Brother B, I
Nothing
want
of the sort?
to make this pellucidly clear that is a blatant lie. And I do not, and you know what is interesting? If this was so, we do requests in writing. We don't take up the phone and call the minister. We make requests in writing. We had 2 requests. One, we did an overall request of 300 million. We have conversations between the Ministry of Finance, not the minister and myself, but the ministry officials and the office of the chief administrator. And that's what the conversation when they said, all right, we want all your invoices. Tell us who we owe. We owe Brother B, we owe Penny Savers, all. They wanted to see who exactly we owe and for what. And we did that. And that came up to $50 million, approximately $50 million for February and March. And that's where the 50 million came from. So to hear that, I think they were running a campaign on lies to make Tobagoans think that we are reckless. And I want to say that we are not a reckless administration. We are very responsible. They had responsible in their, it's amazing, in their campaign, but they were very irresponsible. I don't understand how a man at that level and that caliber could tell a blatant lie such as that and not produce the evidence.
Okay, right. All right. So let's go forward now. Obviously, there are a number of other matters. Number one, the paying off of paying the debt of the contractors.
Yes.
I think I heard Mr. Williams ask about that in his congratulations.
Yes.
All right. So where are we with the debt? The debts that the THE has outstanding.
Right. So the debts remain. We try to over the past 3 years, we try to liquidate as much as possible with funds being available, whichever funds are available. You know, we do have our recurrent expenditure and our development budget has dropped significantly, and therefore it's very difficult. The cost of living is up. Inflationary pressures are on us as well. So we are unable to settle those liabilities as the contractors would like. However, I would like to tell the public so far, in fiscal 2023, we paid 42 million to contractors. In fiscal 2024, we paid 26 million to contractors. And this year, we're making a commitment of 25 million. We've already started to pay 10 million.
And that will cover all the debts?
No, it wouldn't. The debts are very, yes. The debt that we inherited was approximately 1 billion, and that's recurrent and DP. But under recurrent, we have tried to settle those. The DP remains a challenge, and that's the one that is very significant and difficult for us to settle.
Before the THA came into office, in fact, when the THA came into office, there was this audit that was supposed to be done to ensure that these were legitimate contractors. Mr. Richard, you would be more before Ms. Patel came. She was
very much involved.
But let's talk about those that the THA incurred that had to be audited to make sure that they were legitimate. I feel like Casa Road here, you want X amount, and some of them may exorbitantly over cost and so on. So let's speak to those who were not legitimately or not, just had to, because it was a way to buy a vote kind of approach. Let's speak to that. And were there any illegitimate contractors in the findings?
Well, the findings, and Mrs. Roberts probably even will give you a more smoother delivery of that. The finding from the forensic audit showed that over $100 million was not legitimate.
Wow.
So that just came off
the books.
The books, right? And then we were able to now negotiate with a contractor to reduce his claim significantly, because when we did the forensic work and they did the calculation, his claim, the value of the work actually done, and the claim, there was a big variance in that.
Yes.
And they were willing to negotiate to bring that down in line with what the work actually valued. So there was some significant benefit from the forensic audit. There are also some litigation that is in process that we cannot speak to because they are before the court, and there is a body of claims that the forensic auditor said, well, these are claims that you can pay. And the reason why we could not go further in probing those claims is because of how the contractual arrangement was set up, right? So we just have to take that. We can't even question it because the arrangement wasn't contractually properly to protect the interests of the people of Tobago. So the forensic people say, well, look, you see them people here, you just have to pay them. Because the way they do that thing here. So, you understand what I'm saying?
So those are you mentioned the deficit that you are in presently.
Yes.
In terms of meeting those demands. Well, let's go now to mid-year review.
Yes.
I don't think I left anything out there, but I'm bringing this into perspective because you still have these debts to pay.
Yes.
Mid-year review will normally get an allocation and a certain
an additional
you have a new government that's going into a new the treasury,
yes.
Where it is presently. Would you have an idea as to where we are in terms of the figures nationally, as opposed to, you would not have any idea?
No, well, no, we don't have any idea.
Very. So, but you anticipate in this new administration that there would be a reasonable offer to the THA.
Yes.
Let's say that it falls within a little 5 million.
500 million? 500 million?
Yeah. Let's say it falls within that bracket.
Yes.
Priority number one. We'll come to the school, the secondary school that you need funding for and so on. But let's talk about what is outstanding that needs to be treated immediately.
All right. So this administration has a list of priority projects. We listed 44 and 44. We have 44 years, and we have 44 projects that we'd like to complete. We have already started a significant amount of them. But you know how we receive our allocations, that would affect the momentum at which these projects are advancing. So top priority is to get our priorities settled and done. And of course, these contractors' payments are also top of our list. Every single year at the mid-year, we go to the minister and say it. When I met with the Minister of Finance last year, that was one of the 10 items. How are we going to settle? And his response was, all governments have large liabilities, so you just, and then he indicated that when they took over from the UNC in 2015, they still owe these contractors. And therefore, what he's trying to tell me is that I should just leave these contractors on the books. That is not how we want to govern. That's not how we want to treat our fellow Tobagonians. So we have been paying as funds become available. So obviously, as I said, the 44 projects, we do have the contractors, and we have several other initiatives that we'll want to advance for the people of Tobago.
Very good. Mr. Richards, and clearly, the secondary school is one of, on the, I'm sure, the 44 projects. But how urgent is that, in that, given, is Scarborough you went, or Roxborough?
No, I went to Roxborough.
Roxborough, right.
Signal.
But from, you know, I can tell you that school is really heading to the sea. But how important, where is that on the priority list, given the importance of having the school constructed?
Well, that's a priority for the Chief Secretary, and he has made no bones about making that public, right? The lands have been identified, the surveys work have been done, the geotechnical survey has been done, the design brief has been done, the school thing, I think we went out for tendering for the school to be constructed. The problem we were having is really the Ministry of Finance had promised to give us about $350 million to fund the construction of that school, and that has not materialized. Right?
Actually, the minister did indicate, we met with him, and he did indicate that they will send the funding to build Scarborough.
All right.
Because there's a little history in the school. So, because remember, the school was being funded under the country initiative with the Caribbean Development Bank. That was the initial plan. And that started with the previous administration, at P&M administration in TC. So when we came in, the bank came down and we had the meetings and so forth. And they wanted to build the first smart school in the region, a real modern smart school. When your child arrives with his laptop or his iPad, his attendance is recorded electronically, and a message comes to the parents saying, your child is in school. And when they leave, the same thing happens, a message goes to the parents that your child have departed school, and that kind of thing. So a real smart school. And then the school was being designed to accommodate university classes in the afternoon. So it was a multi-purpose facility. And it was projected to cost about $500 million because of the technology and the supporting infrastructure to drive a smart school. And in that $500 million was some provision to bring the other secondary school up to the smart school classification. And the minister took the position that they are not funding that, and they will provide the $350 to build a traditional primary school in Tobago.
Well, now that I think you have a softer response, you have a new Minister of Finance would be announced a couple of days from now.
A softer, a newer, or new?
well, right. I mean, I sit here on a daily basis. I can tell you that this is a softer approach, and we'll get a softer response.
Yes.
That's how I put that.
Yes.
Right. So let's say that mid-year review, we get, I'm asking though, on your list of requests that you would want to have with the new administration.
Yes.
The funding that was promised then by the Minister of Finance, how can that be accommodated with this new Minister of Finance? And will they be accurate with that, and how do you bring them to understanding the importance of it?
So obviously we will have a discussion, just as I have had with the former Minister of Finance, and the same approach. I would bring a list of items, critical priority items for Tobago for consideration. Mr. Richards and I have been in conversation even before as to what we'd like that conversation to be like and what we want the list to look like. So first things first, and this was an advice from my chief technical advisor, that we should seek that 5.1% difference. We got 4.35, and we'll be seeking the 0.8% additional, to be fair to Tobagonians so that everyone can enjoy and receive their dollar. So that was one of the things. So we are hinging it on that. So if we get between 300 and 500 million, I think we'll be able to settle most of our liabilities and some of the initiatives that we want to advance in this fiscal year. Also, I don't know if you remember the SRC, the Prime Minister did accede to the recommendation of the SRC, and therefore an increase and arrears are due to the senior public officials. So that is also in the pipeline, and we have been having conversations with the Ministry of Finance on that. So they're just waiting on our audited figures, which we are wrapping up to send the full list of that.
So let's go now to the Tobago allocation that happens annually, 4.5%.
4.3%.
3%, right? is not adequate. We know that.
And it is not fair.
Well, what are you anticipating would be reasonable?
5.1%.
Pardon me?
Minimum 5.1%.
Right. How? Right.
But let me explain this, because I know that the 5.1%, the 4.03% in the DRC rule was the Tobago percentage share of the national budget population at the time. So the 4.03 to 6.9, the 4.03 was not a magic figure, you know. It was the Tobago population size of the national budget. So you call that
National population.
The national population, sorry. So you call that the Tobago per capita share, meaning that every citizen got $1 out of the budget. That is what it means. It is written in the DRC ruling. So that is the minimum position. You're sharing up the budget, give everybody the $1. Because you have 50,000 people here that are 5.1%, they have to get 5.1% of the budget. That is it. The population have grown significantly since 2000. It grew to 4.8% in 2011, and now at 2021. 2021, it was 5.1% in 2021. That growth in the population in 2021 resulted in the last central government saying the population have grown and we have to expand government.
From 12 to 15.
From 12 to 15, which is a 25% increase, right? But what they did not do, they did not concurrently increase the Tobago allocation to take care of the larger population. And if you multiply 4.03 by 25%, you're getting 5.03, which is the 5.1% we're asking for. So it is concurrent with they legislate that the Tobago population have increased and we need a bigger government.
All right.
But they have not given a bigger
Tracy Davidson would be looking on and be saying now, and the then administration, that we were comfortable to negotiate with 6% of the national budget.
Well, remember the secretary.
And of course, that was not given support, and it fell down, and we returned to 4.30%, whatever. How difficult it is to ask for 6%?
It is not difficult.
It's not difficult.
But what the point the secretary have made is that our rightful share,
minimum
we entitled to that is 5.1% by law.
That's not what we're going to ask.
Sure.
That's the minimum we'll accept.
Okay, good. Right. Let's
So,
see, and I'm pushing here. Let's say that you don't get. Let's say Kamala says, "Listen, all you're crazy about. I have a government to run. We have Trinidad to see about. We have Petro Twin to take.
We have a government to run.
Wait, hold on. And this is where, where the thing could get. Because if you leave the disgruntled, you come back and bring the report to be going and say, "No, man, that ain't good enough. We got to go back. We have to go back to the days of fighting." And then the political banter shouting across the sea, go back into where we were. Mr. Richards, these are very, very sensitive times. We are hearing the whole concept of the valuation of the TT dollar. Let's speak to that and what that would mean for the population, particularly in Tobago, given that we pay more for goods and services already. But let's speak to that. Is that an advisable decision? Is that an advisable direction to go?
I don't think it is a preferred option for any administration to come in and devalue the currency. Right? I don't know what the state of the treasury and what are the factors will really force a government to devalue. I don't think we're at that point yet. In the political campaign, all these things were thrown out as red herring and things to scare people and all of that. I will give the administration a time to settle, do an assessment of the state of the economy, the state of our finances, our projected cash flow, to manage our projected expenditure and all those things, and then come to the people and say, this is the reality of our situation, these are the options that we have, these are the preferred options, and have the conversation with the people. You know, a devaluation will cause inflationary pressure on the system.
Correct.
And I don't think the government will want to go there, because remember the government campaign on a tagline that when UNC win, everybody wins. And that's why I think Tobago will win with 5.1%. I don't think that is an issue for us to be debating. I think, as you said, it's a new beginning, is a softer touch. Yeah. You know, I have interfaced with this administration with this in the PP days already. So I am not scared, and I think we are not arguing in a vacuum, you know. We are arguing based on hard data. Correct. Right? As I explained, that is the ruling of the DRC. They have legislated a larger government because we have a larger population. And therefore, it's not I making it up, you know, I'm giving you the calculation, I'm using hard data to arrive at my position. So then a reasonable government how a reasonable government, I think, will be, unless you want to spite Tobagonians and keep us in the position that we are. Because all we are saying is that in the distribution of the resources in the budget, give Tobagonian the dollar, give Trinidadian the dollar, and then we go away and see how we spend our money.
Yes.
Let's come to revenue earning possibilities. We have had another very difficult task in getting the blasting license, one, the export license, and then you have to pay the money to operate. So presently, the study or the Tobago Quarry is not at its full capacity. Secretary of Finance, this issue of having it reach its full potential in terms of earning rely heavily on export.
Yes.
As was said by Ashley Jack, who is the chairman there. This new soft approach, or softer approach to getting the required implementations of the license on, should be easy going forward. Should that reach its full potential, what Tobago can possibly earn per annum with the operation of the quarry?
Well, I wouldn't be able to say that because that is hinged on so many factors that I don't have the data to support to even mention that, and I think it would be good for the study park quarry to put that out. But I want to say that we are looking at other avenues within the Division of Finance with the establishment of the Tobago Development Fund. And it would not only be giving out grants and loans, but looking at investment opportunities for Tobago. As I did indicate, I feel that now is the best time for Tobago to realize its fullest potential. And with the establishment, and I'm sure the government will give us the ease that we need in terms of not only financing, but we have sought international interventions by getting technical assistance in the form of cash, in the form of training and access to expertise in the establishment of these types of institutions. We have asked the previous administration, and we are going again at that, and I'm sure we will see, some headway with that. So not only the Solid Park Quarry, but we are looking at other avenues. We are also looking at to raise our debt ceiling, how much we can access in terms of debt financing. We want to also access grant financing, not only through the ministries in Trinidad, but directly to Tobago, because what is happening, grants are coming to the country, and we are not getting any access to it. I did speak openly about it and publicly about the insurance, the CDB for the oil spill. We have so many international agencies granting funding to Tobago, and Tobagonians just not being able to access it for whatever bad man reason, I don't know. So now I expect, and we will make those claims and try to ensure that the avenues are open and that Tobago has a voice and Tobago is in the room when these things come to the fore.
Direct foreign investment, and of course, revenue earner, foreign exchange earner. Sanders, Rowley said, I hope Ollie threw it out the window, given that he's not there anymore, and so on. Well, of course, we're talking Sanders, but there are other foreign investment interests that Tobago can embrace as to ensure its financial, foreign investment contribution to the economy.
Definitely, that's a big window for the Chief Secretary and the Secretary of Finance in terms of where we are heading, and for the transformation and the economic development of Tobago. We have to have some foreign direct investment coming in, right? As I mentioned before, the THE have acquired the Colonial Estate that comes with approval for a hotel and villas and all of that. So we are looking for an international investor to actualize that potential of the estate. It's over 100 acres, and there's a part that being exercised for community expansion and all of that, because they want the community to be interwoven into that development, so there will be economic and social benefit feeding off of that establishment there. So those are some of the major, that is just one of the major foreign investment opportunity. The Secretary, we are looking at the investment opportunity with Sanctuary Hotel, right? That was acquired by the last administration. So that is now probably invested under the purview of the Secretary of Finance. So we are looking at how we can, monetize this asset in a way that doesn't bring a liability to the people of Tobago as it is now, right? We are also looking at what is happening at Manta Lodge, that is under the purview of the Secretary of Finance. So we are looking at all these investments to see how we can really bring resources and opportunities to the people of Tobago. Because, you see, this mantra of becoming the greatest little island on the planet is not just talk, you know. This has been mapped out in a development pathway.
Right. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready to close. Today, let me just quickly ask, though, and I think Mr. Anselm Richards could answer that. Mr. Sampson seat in the THA would be vacant, given that he has to resign to take up his portfolio. Who is tipped to take up that?
We won't be able to say.
His seat will remain vacant because he's an elected member of the House. Yeah. And we are within 1 year of the THA election, so there will not be a by-election. In terms of who the Chief Secretary will appoint as a secretary to replace him,
that lies with the Chief Secretary. But before you go, because of time, I really wanted to touch on Budget 2025-2026. And one of the critical things is that we are having an online budget consultation platform so that the public can go on and give their recommendations and submissions on the budget. So yes, so
when is that?
It's launching today on all the media platforms. So you can have access via our Facebook page, the THA website, and all the social media handles across the divisions of the Tobago House of Assembly.
So people can give their views, give their...
Yeah, so you can click, and it's very simple. Just 3 things. What area or sector industry you'd like to speak on, and then we give you access to speak, and where are you from, if it's Tobago, if it's Trinidad, if it's Italy, New York, wherever you're from, and that's it.
Excellent.
Yes. So that is one of the things I really wanted to tell the public.
It's inclusive in that the ordinary folk can make your views.
Yes. We want to hear from the public.
And we are having some special
interest groups
meeting. Those will be in person, like, with the Bankers Association and financial institutions.
Excellent.
The tourism people, agriculture people, some key stakeholders in this space. We have a whole schedule of meetings.
Yes.
Because, as we said, this journey to the greatest little island is not for Ali and the Executive Council alone.
Yeah.
It's the whole of Tobago. It's a whole of Tobago effort. It's a whole of Tobago coming together and traveling this journey, holding others, ensuring that all of us arrive at this destiny. And those who are struggling, we have to hold them and bring them up.
Exactly.
That's the kind of approach.
Excellent. I want to thank both of you and congratulations again on your victory. And we look forward to a cordial, peaceful, loving, soft relationship with the government. Of course, you are heading to Trinidad? No?
No, we're not. No.
All right, okay, fine.
Yes.
All right, thank you again. All the best.